Hey, what's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out.
Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Hey, it's Icarice, and I'm here to tell you about Hotcast for Podcasting. We are a podcasting studio located in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Hot 702.5 FM studios. You can book online at hot7025fm.com. Just click on Hotcast. You can book and find your times right there. Thank you for booking with Hotcast for Podcasting.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale. Who am I talking to? I ain't talking to nobody. I ain't got no phone. I'm out here raw dogging on my microphone. You know how it is sometimes, man. You come in talking about life and life be life, and sometimes you got to can't be out here raw dogging on the microphone out here, y'all. The engineer get in, you should get on you, get in your head, be like, put something on that microphone before I get your ass. What up, though? What we doing? What up, Lucy Lowe? You done with that convo at work, huh? You through with that work call. I appreciate you tuning in and tapping in right here on the #1 spot for advice, whether it's online or in person. It's Hot 7025's very own. My cousin on here. What's up, cousin? Darian Marie in the building. What up, Jorge? What's up, dog? Man, I'm so proud of you, man. Saw you out there with Chef Ramsay getting your thing on, brother. And it's much appreciated that you still get time to tune in and tap in with the #1 homie in the land. You know what I mean? That's it. That's me, 360. That's THAPOET. Make sure you spell it right, because my name means something. Tenacity, heart, and attitude presents opportunities every time. And that's what it means each and every time that we here on Hot 7025. I'm in this thing like a wedgie, y'all. So we back. It's been the new year, man. It's all that kind of good stuff. Because y'all know how I feel about saying Happy New Year 10 days after. Matt Seward, you say you see the yellow skull cap, Matt Seward? Hey, man, you know, I'm out here. I'm in my spicy mustard bag today. So I'm feeling spicy mustard today. So who want it? Who want it? That's how I feel about it out here. Who want it out here in these streets? But I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, man. Sometimes, man, you find these gems when you be out at H&M and all these other little spots and stuff, man, and you get a chance to grab something, and it just happened to match my sweater, man. So good looking, bro. Y'all know me in my headgear. So how you do it out here? It's cold out here in Vegas, man. I wanted to wear a regular hat, but it's a little chilly bump outside. Like, it warmed up a little bit just now as I was on my way into the studio. But exactly, Matt said the same thing. It's cold out. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is, people, this temperature be up and down, and the wind around here be junior Chicago. It's Chicago junior. They say Chicago the windy city, but we his little brother or something, like, cause good googly moogly, it be windy out here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about the restaurant with the guaranteed fresh fries either. But you know where we at, y'all. It's like I said, said, I always like to give my disclaimer. I like to tell people what it is. Now, I've never been trained in any way, shape, form, or fashion in any type of counseling or any type of psychology or psychiatry. But what I have done is I've lived a colorful life, as you can tell, not just by my wardrobe, but by the people and things that I talk to and deal and intermingle with, that I have done enough and have been vicariously close enough to people to live through them and be able to sponge this game right back out to y'all right out here in these streets. It is a little nippy out. So we're going to dive right into it. As always, I appreciate any of my listeners and writers and people who take time and send me letters and emails or texts, because you know how to do it. Reach me at holla@thehomie@gmail.com or shoot your letter to hot7025fm.com and just put in the subject line, holla at the homie, and then we'll get you together and make sure that you can get your information on here. Then you can always call at 702-551-5261 if you got some input to put in. You dig? So there it is, and is it there? So we're going to dive straight into this letter. Dear Holla at the Homie, I've never thought I'd be writing one of these letters, but I need some guidance before I make a mistake I'll regret. Here's the situation. I've been married to my spouse, Terry, for 6 years. Our marriage isn't perfect, but it's good. At least I thought it was. Recently, though, I found myself connecting more with someone at work, my so-called work spouse. Let me be clear. No lines have been crossed, no feelings have been confessed, and no inappropriate behaviors have occurred. But I can't deny that something is stirring inside of me. I find myself looking forward to conversations with my work spouse more than I do with Terry. They get, in quotes, me in ways that feel effortless, and I've caught myself thinking about them outside of work. The thing is, I know I wouldn't appreciate it if Terry had this kind of connection with someone at their job. If the roles were reversed, I'd feel uneasy, maybe even betrayed, even if nothing physical happened. That realization has made me come to stop and think about ways and what's really going on here. I love Terry, but I can't ignore the fact that this connection with my work spouse feels exciting in a way my marriage hasn't for a while. I don't want to let this go any further, but I also don't know how to address what's missing in my marriage without causing unnecessary hurt or suspicion. How do I untangle this situation before it gets out of hand? Sincerely, conflicted but committed. Ooh, what up, Pam? What up, JJ? What up, Picks This 702? Everybody that's joining in on here, for y'all that didn't know it or didn't get a chance to catch a bar of what that letter was about, that's smoking. You dig? That's one of them. I had to hit that with the Jim Carrey smoking, because the fact that first of all, I want to thank you. What's your name on here? Conflicted and Committed. I'm going to just call you Conflicted. I want to thank you, Conflicted, for at least squeezing this out of your brain and giving a little bit of this to me to try to handle. Because this one right here, a lot of people have faced this in the situations before, whether they've admitted to it or whether it's gotten to this extreme or exactly, Jorge, whether it's gotten to this extreme or whether it's touched any of these buttons in any way, shape, form, or fashion, right? So some of us, or maybe all of us, have dealt with this in the workplace at least once in our lives, whether we were with somebody when we started catching feelings or connecting with a work spouse, or whether we weren't. We could have been single and caught these, same connection feelings for a work spouse. Would you say they got some way of on this to post that out online? They do got some big cojones to be able to post that online, and I appreciate them for giving it to us. I say us because I still got my online colleagues out here. I call them the peanut gallery from time to time, but I appreciate all the comments and concerns that come from y'all, because y'all see it in a different way that I do too. Again, what's up, Ray Butler? Oh, 24 in the building, 24 and 22 on here at the same time. It's locked down. Some huevos. Okay, oh, my bad. I can't read that fast going up the screen, Jorge. Appreciate you for putting the he put the emoji on there. That was appreciated, because when you can speak in emojis that help people understand, it get the picture. A picture worth 1,000 words, or at least the words you're trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Put that gun down, ma'am. But Ray Butler, what's happening with you, baby? But so Conflicted, I appreciate you. I want to give you some credit. I want to give you some credit for giving us a little bit of this to kind of go with. You're doing something a lot of people that in your situation wouldn't have done. And the first thing I say about that is you're recognizing the situation before it spirals into something messy. What'd you say, Jorge? Man, I have no words, but I'm going to just sit here and soak up this knowledge. I feel you because, what'd you say, like a natural on Big Blue. What's up? What's up, Tobias Green? What's happening with you, baby? Oh, man, my dog out there. Hopefully everybody out there, all my California people, first and foremost, man, I'm sending out a prayer to anybody that's out there with y'all, any of y'all that's out there. I forgot to say that because all my Cali people, some have been affected. I saw a couple of my friends, my friend and her family on the news. They lost everything. So anybody out there that's been affected by these fires or who's been helpful, who's been on the front lines trying to help people, whether you taking things, donating your time, donating your money, it's much appreciated, and we praying for y'all out there. We are. So I wanted to make sure that we said that, put that out there as well. To all my people out in California, y'all in my prayers. You know what I mean? A couple of our friends from school lost a couple things that's out there, so appreciate y'all for at least sharing that in y'all journey, and also we are praying for y'all. So back to the lecture at hand. Like I say, this can be a messy thing, Conflicted, if you didn't first and foremost recognize what's going on. You're more than welcome, Tobias. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't recognize what's going on here, because that's huge. It's a lot of us who, I understand that you care deeply about Terry. And I love the fact that your spouse's name is Terry. That means I don't know if it's a man, it's a woman, because I got a homeboy named Terry, I had an uncle named Terry, and I got an auntie named Terry. So that let me know, this is so ambiguous. I love it, so it doesn't give me a gender promoted side of things. They got the Jean Carleon said prayers from Nashville to all my people over there. That's on the Facebook side of things. I didn't see his post on the page. But then what's up to you too, Carleon? But so that's the thing. This is a huge thing. The first step is untangling this, right? So in order to untangle what you got going on here, you got to look at it from a whole different perspective. You know, what you say? A lot of us going out here quiet on this topic. That's you're right, Ray. What you say, Kim Wilson Clark? I'm so sorry for those that are losing their homes and so much more in their lives than their own in California fires. Exactly. Everybody out here praying. So it's a lot going on. So you said your marriage is good, but it's not perfect. And I highlighted that on your letter. It's good, but it's not perfect. And I think that's pretty much anybody who's in a marriage, who they are happy in any capacity in, that it's good, but it's not perfect. And the lack of perfection in a marriage, or the lack of seeking the perfection in a partnership, is a big deal. Because if you're seeking perfection, then that means you also have to hold yourself accountable for being perfect, as well as you holding the other person accountable for being perfect. And as we all know, none of us are that in itself. None of us are perfect, right? So let's eliminate any type of perfection, but let's talk about and focus on the good. What'd you say, Ray Butler? Set boundaries. That's one of my topics. That's step number 3. That's step number 3 out here. So, we're going to look at it all first. And, you say maybe this person is, this is what I always like to say. So what is it? What is it about your work spouse that's making you feel this way? I want to put quotations, feel this way. You understand what I'm saying? So I want to make sure I express feel, because you can see something, you can say something, you can hear something, but what do you feel in this situation? What's up, D. Williams, brother-in-law in the building? What makes you feel in this way, right? So it's normal for long-term relationships to kind of hit a fizzle spot, hit a spot where the spark ain't really sparking as much as it would in particular categories and areas, right? So, but you don't throw away the whole relationship. You just look at it and find out, you got to figure out what it is, sometimes in those routines that has allowed us to slip into that sort of abyss in a relationship, right? So it's normal for these things to happen, but what is it about this work spouse that makes us feel seen? What is it about this work spouse that makes us feel understood, or even just a little bit special? What is it about that work spouse that's doing that for you, Conflicted? That's what you got to dissect. You know, it can light up parts in us, like if somebody's doing that to us that haven't been lit up in a while. So that spark that you felt like was missing from your spouse at home, exactly, Ray Butler, you say you getting more of that attention at work than you are at home. Now, what's up, Dr. Pixie 007? You know what I'm saying? So like if you're getting more of this attention at work than you are at home, then sometimes it's going to spark something in you that you had no idea was there. Right? You had no idea was there. It doesn't mean that your marriage is broken. It doesn't mean like that you should just throw it all away. It's a sign that your emotional needs are starting to shift. That's what you got to look at. What is the shift that's existing in your emotional need? That's why I keep stressing the word feel, because feelings are your emotions. What does this make you feel? So where is your shift in your emotions? You know, what is not being met right now at home? And maybe it is, but the fact that you're spending more time with this other person, because you got to look at it, like I say, I look at it both sides. I'm devil's advocate, angel's advocate. I'm on both shoulders here. Like, I'm not saying that, and because again, this is no blame to be placed, because again, I always say when you point one finger, 3 of them point right back at you. That stands for me, myself, and I. And how am I involved in this particular situation, right? You say it comes with the territory. Would you say the King McDaniel communication gap? That's another thing. Would you say you like that emotional shift? Exactly. It's the attention. You understand? So you got to look at it in ways like what is changing in you that's not allowing you to see your spouse in the same way as you did before. Again, it doesn't mean that the marriage or your relationship or the partnership is broken. It's just that the emotions have shifted, and so now something is falling short in some way. You could be contributing to that in a lot of ways. They could be contributing to it in a lot of ways, or the lack of communication about it could be contributing to that gap in a lot of ways. You know, you have to look at this as a 360 view. Would you say you have stories now that's going would say you wouldn't give up so easily and allow others to shift your attention? And that's, again, nobody's, and I don't think they're allowing it. I mean, yes, you are allowing it, but I don't think it's intentionally allowing, because the way this letter is put, because they said, I want to stress, no lines have been crossed. You know, nothing has happened, but you just don't feel like the way you feel now, you would appreciate it if your spouse was feeling that way about somebody as well. So that's where you got to kind of look at it. So the first thing you got to look at, you answered your own question. That's your gut telling you that this is a path that you don't want to go down. When you said that you wouldn't appreciate it if Terry had somebody like that at their job that they were feeling that way about. So that answered your question, but let's figure out how to get there. What's up, Candy Williams 7777? It's a way that you can kind of do that. Your step one is reflect on what is missing. What's up, Sadiq? Inch Mob in the building. You got to reflect on what's missing. Take some time to figure out what your work spouse is giving you that you're not getting at home. Is it attention? You know, is it validation? Is it shared interests? Because sometimes in life, with your wife, your husband, your partner, sometimes your interests sometimes start to fork. You know, and it's okay. It's okay for them to fork, but is that what it is that's drawing you to your work spouse? Is it your interests are similar and it gives you something more to communicate or converse about? Because you communicate in a lot of ways, not just with your words. Your body language is doing something. So is your body language at home attractive or is it retractive? Think about that. Are you being one of them candles that keep the mosquitoes away? So now your spouse don't want to nibble on you. Are you giving off that pheromone, that scent that they don't like? Or are they giving it off to you in some way? Again, that doesn't mean that there's blame to be placed. There's just observation that needs to be had. You need to look at it. Step outside of yourself and look at what it is that your work spouse is giving you. What is it that they makes you attentive to them now more than ever? Because you said here in your letter, you know what I mean? You said like, I find myself looking forward to conversations with my work spouse more than I do with Terry. And then you said they get me in ways that feel effortless. Are you not putting forth the effort? Or is Terry not putting forth the effort? And now it just seems as if this work spouse is putting forth the effort because you're around them more. You say, how does your coworker become your work spouse? And that's another thing. Words have power. You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, that's my work husband. Oh, that's my work wife. You know what I mean? They be like, oh. And usually it's somebody that's 50 years older than them. You know what I mean? But even in that, because people fuss at work and, people put this title on. I'm just answering questions to my constituents out here. People put this title on people out there and, like, oh, that's my work wife, my work. We fight all the time, but we so harmonious when we rocking and rolling, so that's the category they put it in, your work spouse. That's to answer your question there, the King McDaniel. You know what I mean? So now you got to look at this, like whatever it is, this is what I start doing with anything Anything I'm trying to figure out an answer to, I start writing stuff. I'm so old. I am so old. I write it down. I'm going to write it down. You know what I mean? And if I'm old, I got it from my wife because she still got the calendar in her purse. Like, she still got a written calendar with different color pens and inks in her purse right now. I promise you, if it was on, if she was on Let's Make a Deal with me and thhad asked that, and she would have been put out a calendar. You know what I'm saying? Real spit. You say, yeah, once you start feeding it attention, then you start to look for it. And that's another thing, Tobe. That's it. You right, Toby. And once you start feeding that attention to it, like once you getting the fix off of it now. That's what the word I was looking for earlier. I want to write on my notes. What is the fix that your work spouse is giving you? Where's the tap in? What are you now needing from them or expecting from them that you not expecting to get from Terry? It's about understanding your emotional landscape and being willing to address it. So you got to write it down. And it's not about placing blame like, oh, well, this is what Terry doesn't do that they do. Nah, it's about what they do that drives you to feel the way you started to feeling. Would you say, Anthony Gooseby, you say, I feel like the work spouse is a distraction to the real issue. And that again in itself, it may be a misdirection, sleight of hand. It may be that excellent point there, Mr. Gooseby. It may be a distraction from the real issue and again, the issues do not mean broken. Issues just mean observations that need to be had and addressed. That's all that means. So I don't want anybody out here be like, well, 360 said, you know what I mean? If there's something going on, like I need to just throw it away. No. You be telling a fib on me and don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So, so step one is, again, you got to reflect on what's missing that again, I keep stressing the word feel, that you feel you're receiving from your work spouse. Write it down and then you can address it. You know what I mean? Then, after that, you can find out how you can rekindle the connection with Terry. How about that? How can you, like you said, you feel bad about it. You feel bad that you feel this way. So how do you rekindle that spark with Terry? Try to understand what you're getting from the other side. How do you rekindle that spark? Because once you've identified what's missing, now you know what to attack. You know what to bring back to the marriage. You don't have to flood it with everything because everything they're giving you may not be needed in your marriage. Let's start there. Everything that you're getting from this other person may not be something that's needed in your marriage. So you got to figure out what's missing from your marriage that you're getting from it. So when you find that out, then you bring that back to the marriage because maybe you and Terry need more quality time together. Maybe that's the issue. Or maybe you need to have deeper conversations with Terry. Would you say, Toby, yes, sir, use that injury to put into your relationship because she might feel that way the way you feel. And that's it. Terry may have a work spouse too. You think about that? You bring the conversation to the table. You may get the answer you now want, but you know you need that. You feel me? You got to realize that Terry may have a work spouse too. And now they may be like, well, you know what? I was kind of starting to feel for my work spouse, but thank you for checking us, babe. Thank you for bringing this to the table. You know, because that's step 4. I'm going to get to that in a second on how to bring it to the table. But how do you maybe you need to have these conversations, try to shake things up. It doesn't have to be something big either. It doesn't have to be some grand gesture that you just, okay, I'm about to bring it back. Ooh, I'm going to knock it out the park on this one with Terry. It doesn't have to be that. Your spouse may not need that grand gesture. That's why I said don't try to flood your household with everything that you get at one time. Make it small. Make it manageable. Because a lot of times we be like, I'm going to promise to do this, and it's too much promise. It's too much promise to keep all the way. It may be 80% kept, or something may have fallen by the wayside. You got to evaluate your promise. Start with small ones. So bring them small. Bring them, but just bring what you can manage. Make sure it's manageable what you're saying, what you're bringing back into the household. Because too much sometimes is too much. Sometimes it's the smallest, most intentional. There it is. That's a word you got to think about. You got to do it with intent. Don't just do it because it sounds good, or you heard about it on TikTok, or you read something on online and gossip, on something along those lines. Don't try to do it just because you heard that the masses are doing it. It has to be intentional. You must do it with intent. That the intent of making sure this is ownership for y'all to have between y'all and y'all only, and not sharing it. Sometimes those small gestures, small intentional gestures, make the biggest of differences. And you got to understand that. We all want to make this big boom, nuclear implosion when we land. We drop the bomb, mic drop, boom. But it's not always about, sometimes you can set the mic down and your point is just as powerful. Sometimes you can put the microphone back on its stand and walk away. But you have to do what you're doing with intent. That's my one level of saying, if you're going to go this route, then it has to be all the way because you wanted to do this, not just because you thought it might help. That's a big difference. Sometimes we think things might help, and we do them just because we think they might help, but we don't do them because it's something that we want to do. So it's like cooking without love. Your food tastes better when you cook with love. When the food is cooked with love, it tastes way better. It's more flavor in it just because, the ancestor told you how much seasoning to put on something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when it's cooked with love, then it's a whole lot more feasible and more palatable for people to be able to do something. So if you do these things with intent, then it's going to be more handleable amongst y'all. All right. So step 1, again, reflect on what was missing. Right. Step 2 is rekindle the connection with Terry. That's my 1 and 2 for you. My step 3 for you would be like set boundaries at work, like Ray Butler was talking about earlier. You got to set boundaries. What's up, irreplaceable 628112? You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to set boundaries at work. It's great that no lines have been crossed, right? I salute you. It's appreciated by all those that are probably listening and watching. They appreciate the fact that you have not crossed any lines because it shows your strength, in some capacity. Because you could have said something out of pocket. You could have said something that was, could have been received well by your work spouse. But now it's time for you to set boundaries. You have to create a comfortable distance. A distance that you don't want to just cold turkey your work spouse. Because y'all do have a friendship and a bond, but, you got to be able to have a comfortable distance between the two of you. And they be like, what do you mean by that, 360? And I'm saying this, you have to be able to create that before things get blurry. When things get blurry and you can't really see clearly the lines between that have been drawn between your work relationships and your home relationships, when things get blurry, you don't want that. That doesn't mean you have to ice them out. Like I said, you don't have to ice them out and just cold turkey them. You know what I mean? Just be mindful of how much time and energy that you're investing in that relationship. How much time and energy are you investing in something that you say is causing you inner turmoil? You have to consider that. If you catch yourself sharing something with your work spouse that, what up, though, Donovan Brooks? The topic today is, what would you do if you start feeling your work spouse more than you start feeling your own spouse? If you find yourself catching yourself sharing things with your work spouse that you wouldn't share with Terry, that's a sign to pull back. That's a sign to say, whoa, Nelly, let me pull back. Like, you done told this person at work something and you ain't even told your person at home? Oh, man, violation. That's a flagrant foul, killer. Flagrant foul. You said don't let it get there. You have to recognize discomfort. Now you make sure it's an understanding. And yes, because you have to be mindful of the attention. Exactly, Toby. That's what I was saying. You got to be mindful of the attention that you're giving to this relationship. You're feeding it. What up, Black Excellence? Jay Pitts, the second in the building. You know what I'm saying? You have to be mindful of the energy that you're giving this relationship. So now the boundaries have to come into play. The boundaries have to be something that you put up. You have to put these barriers between you and your work spouse. But again, make sure it's a comfortable barrier, because you don't want to be, now you at work feeling uncomfortable. Because I tell people all the time, man, you leave home outside of work and you leave work outside of home. And, not to say you can't discuss things, stuff like that, but you try to leave any emotions that are attached to the other outside of the respective one that you in at the time. That's just something I try to do. And everybody can't do it, I know one person that can't do it because she talk about me about her job every day. But I love it. I absorb it, and I understand that's her outlet. So that's probably preventing her from having somebody like you got. Shoot, I'm going to listen. Yeah, well, tell me more. Tell me more. I'm invested. Tell me more. Oh, you say this person? Oh, yeah, tell me more. Yeah, I want to know about all these people at your job. I am listening, tuned in. But anyway, back to the lecture at hand. You know what I mean? Like I said, if you catch yourself sharing things with this person that you wouldn't share at home, that's a sign to pull back. And, that's when I say you got to go into this next tricky part of it. And I say it can present itself as tricky. Step 4 would be to communicate with Terry. And the only reason I say it's tricky is because it's essential that you communicate the truth in what you're speaking. Because if you just give Terry half truths, again, I don't know if Terry a man, Terry a woman, but Terry a human being. Half truths are receptible by people that's looking to you, that love you, that's invested in you, that know what you look like when you sleep. People that know what you look like when you sleep, they feel you when your energy shift a little bit differently when you conversing with them, and they know when you're leaving something out. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about that there. You know what I mean? You got to be able to. It's an essential part of you. You don't have to spill all like every feeling that you've had. Let me clarify. Like, you don't want to be like, man, I hadn't pictured me doing such and such with this person. You ain't got to do all that. Everybody don't need, and like I say, sometimes too much is too much. But you do have to express, like what the part you told me about how, you don't have to say you look forward to the conversations, but you can say, I find myself enjoying the conversations at work a whole lot more than I should. I think that I should, or that I would think that be okay if you did. However you want to verbalize it in your relationship. What'd you say, Donovan Brooks? You say most of the time, most of the time it's time. You spend 8 hours with your work spouse, so you get real spouse gets the disadvantage. In order to keep that safe boundary, do not start the personal conversations at work, period. What else to say on there? Hit that C more for me, please, engineer. You know, say don't start the work conversations. That's another thing. If you feel like you getting more at work, you got to slow that down, draw it back quick. You know what I mean? Bring your reel back in some, dog. Bring your reel back in some. You know what I mean? Say be intentional and say, I need you to listen. Don't he said, don't get upset. And they actively be ready to listen. They had a long day too. Exactly. That's another thing. They getting off work. They've been out there 8 hours. They've been at their gig for 8 hours. And now you got to come home and have this conversation. Everybody ain't ready for that all at the same time. What'd you say? Don't let your work spouse in your time all together. Ooh, and that's coming from my spouse. Shut your face, girl. Anybody listen to you? No, I'm just playing. I ain't worried about nobody at my job. I'm about ready to choke most of them anyway. No, I'm just playing. I love them. But like the thing about it is you gotta understand sometimes, like Donovan Brooks said, the time is the thing that causes a lot. What's up? It's Raya B. The time is the biggest factor in this equation, right? That's the biggest variable. How much time you spend with somebody. Depending on your work environment, you may work closely with somebody, you know, or if y'all, you know, together, like if y'all working at a restaurant or something, y'all may be on the floor, y'all in each other's faces. Yeah, if y'all working in an office, y'all make cubicles maybe next to each other. If y'all project managers, y'all may have to do projects together, you know, so it's times where you spend a lot of time together. Like my advice would be, if you're going to have any type of relationship at work, get a work sibling. You know what I'm saying? Get a work sibling, because you can really enjoy talking to your brothers and sisters, you know, even if you've never had any yourself. You're the only child. Now you really got somebody you can kick it with. Oh, man, I got my brother at work, my work brother, my work sister. Like, you know, you can confide in one another, talk about things that you probably want to wait or find a way to talk to your spouse about with your sibling. That would be my advisory to you, you know what I mean? But to say, if you're going to have any type of relationship, but you got to be able to talk about your needs at home without placing blame on anybody. You know, that's another thing. Like I've stressed that feelings and lack of blame throughout this whole conversation. You can't be out here blaming anybody when it's two participants in the equation. You know? It's something if it's something missing at home, both of y'all there. Both of y'all live there. So it's like you can't find the house keys. So both of y'all are responsible for them. Y'all both got one. You say, if you trust someone at work enough. Exactly. And accountability is important. Very, very important. It is. Like my work sister, she also the station owner, but she be pointing her finger at me like, now, ninja. You know better. Like she be like, you know better. You know what I mean? Like, and I end up officiating her wedding type thing. So those type of relationships, you need them. We talk about all kinds of stuff, health, everything you can think about. Sometimes before or after, you know, I've talked about it at home. You know, I've talked about it here. I'd be like, how should I present this to her? You know, we talked about this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? It's before something is going to be said at the crib. You know, would you say, here's where it gets real. Be transparent and tell your real spouse the conversation you had with your work spouse. Most people feel they're not doing anything wrong because they're not lying. But when you talk about work, you leave all that out. And that's another thing, too. You got to understand. You got to be real and open with your spouse at the crib about thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very golden. Thank you. That's why I said I'll spend my spicy mustard bag today. You know what I mean? You got to be real with Terry. That's why I said it could be a little tricky, because the essentiality of it is pertinent to your relationship. This is you can frame it as a way for y'all to grow more together, or you can find a way to do it. Just make sure you do it without criticism. I can't stress enough. Don't go in there placing blame. Would you say, if my work spouse start telling me about her conversation with her coworker, my ass going to start listening more for sure. And I get that. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. You got to start looking at these conversations in an open-mindedness. See what you can hear from this conversation, not just about what you're going to say in this conversation. We get selfish sometimes when we want to get our point across, or we want our point to be heard. We ain't listening to nothing nobody say sometimes. You have to be very transparent and be ready to open and be receptive to receive what they have to say in response. It's excitement to you want this excitement to come back to your relationship. You might say something like, I've been thinking about ways that we can reconnect. This is ways that I've been thinking about ways that we can, re-spark some things that I don't know if you felt like that we've been, not as on hot fire as we were before, but I felt as if we fizzled a little bit. Let's talk about it. Because if you're not on the same page about how y'all feel in this relationship, they may think everything's hunky-dory. Smorky, going on about their day, right? And you thinking there, I'm like, I can't stand this. They don't want to talk about nothing. And they think everything is fine as frog hair. But it's not. So being open to receive what they have to say back to you is going to take you a long way in these conversations. Trust me on this. I promise you. You have to be open to the conversation that's going to come back your way. Because if you just go in there saying, well, I'm going to say my piece, then nothing's going to get accomplished. What was your purpose? What did that do for your life? A lot of people I know say that, but one of them I see every day, and she say it damn near every day. What did that do for your life? Or what does that do for these people's lives? To be that way, to come into something that way without any type of accountability. Like Tobias Green said earlier, accountability is the key. It's very, very, very important to hold yourself accountable, not just your house spouse, not just your work spouse. You have to hold yourself accountable in this too. What you say? You have to be open and willing to listen because if you trip, they will close up on your ass. And that's the truth, Donovan Brooks. You have to be, if you're going to drop this on their lap, you got to be ready for them to drop something back in yours. You can't just think like, oh man, I'm gonna just say what I gotta say, and I'll holler at you tomorrow. We'll talk about how to handle this tomorrow. No, sir or ma'am, no. Rewind. Come on backwards. Come on back in the room and let's talk. And a lot of people think it's about like being in confessional. Like you go, forgive me, Father, I have sinned. Like you go in there, you go tell your piece. It's not relationships aren't confessionals. Relationships is like you talking in a phone booth, or like you got a can to the wall and y'all communicating through the wall or something. That's relationships. You got to be willing to listen and intentionally listen to what they're saying. You have to listen with intent. Because if you just listen for the sake of just letting them get it out, then nothing will be accomplished in the capacity in which you have to be moving in a better direction. Nothing will move in a better direction if you don't intentionally listen to what it is that they're saying. You have to want to go in and be like, you know what? I'm going to say what I got to say, and I'm ready for them too. Because if not, then what do you get answered? What are your questions are going to sit in the abyss, in the atmosphere. Your questions going to just be out there. What's up, Anna Karen AC, my RN to be? You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be able to be willing to listen to what they have to say as well. So I got to say my step 5 in all of this would be make sure that you give yourself some grace in this though. I know I may have been, a lot of telling you what you need to do about the people that are involved in it, but you got to give yourself some grace because, again, I want to thank you again for even having the guts and the grace you gave yourself to talk about this openly, to ask somebody, to reach out to somebody, I appreciate you letting me be that somebody and my online colleagues be those somebodies. You know what I mean? So, because you got to remember, we're only human. You're human, dog. You're human. You know what I mean? You have these feelings. It doesn't make you a bad person or a bad spouse. You just, like you say, conflicted but committed. That's how you signed your letter. Conflicted but committed. You haven't crossed any lines. You committed to Terry. So now you got to go in with the understanding that to be truly committed, you got to give yourself some grace for being able to admit that this is going on in you. You're a person that's navigating some complexities in your life. We all have them. We all have issues that we go through from time to time, right? The fact that you're addressing them now instead of when the ish really hit the fan and you start to really feel for this person because you haven't addressed the issues, that now you're getting ahead of it. To be ahead of it lets me know that you're committed to doing the right thing. What's going on, Don 512? You're committed to doing the right thing. So give yourself some grace after you've gone. Like I say, again, I never tell anybody what to do. I just give you options of what can be done. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just giving options of what can be done. So in regards to, conflicted but committed, who came to us today and asked us about what to do about them starting to have a better they're starting to feel their connection more with their work spouse than they do with their own spouse at home. Nothing has happened. No lines have been crossed, but they understand that the feelings that they had, they're looking forward to conversations with this person. What'd you say, Madeline Southern Bell Rouge Jackson Shaw? Thank you. Appreciate you. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you. So all I said to him was like, reflect on what's missing in the relationship, meaning like, look at what's not being met right now. Look at what feelings are being felt in the work relationship that aren't being felt at home, but do this without passing judgment. I continue to express, don't place blame on anyone. I continue to express the fact that you have to be open-minded and be transparent in this, as well as like my online colleagues. Everybody said the accountability is very important. Not just accountability on what's going on with you and that person at work, excuse me, but the accountability that you've took the chance to understand that you feel this way. So find out, reflect on what's missing. Try to rekindle what's going on with your spouse. Would you say, can she say work spouse to Terry in a conversation? That's another thing. Is it disrespectful? Is it flirting? Can Terry say work spouse to him or her? I think these actions are just playing with fire. That's a good understanding there, the Jean Carleon. And that's what we talked about. Like just introducing this type of energy sometimes is dangerous. It's dangerous. So, but now that we in the fire, now let's figure out how to put the fire on the fuse at the relationship at home. Try to rekindle that spark at home. But you got, by doing that, the way to do that is maybe you have small conversations or big conversations or deeper conversations or spending more quality time with Terry at home. And after you've done that, make sure you set these boundaries at work. You have to be willing to set, like I say, a comfortable distance between you and your quote unquote work spouse. There has to be a comfortable distance, because apparently if you look at this person in regards like this, there's somebody who you listen to, they talk to, so you're cool with them. So you don't want to just cold turkey and ice them out, but you do want to let them know and be able to communicate with them after you've communicated with Terry. Again, talk at home first. Don't get caught up in the web of, discussing outside of home first. Talk about it at the crib. You and Terry may be like, you ain't got to tell them nothing. Terry maybe say, you ain't got to say nothing. Would you say, Angie Carter White? Some people are afraid to have the uncomfortable conversations with their partner. And that's it. Would you say, Moolah Thomas? That's my brother. Let him know. That's right. We got to let him know. And that's another thing. The uncomfortable conversations with your partner, you can't have those uncomfortable conversations with somebody else and not be comfortable with having them with the person who you say is your right hand or your left hand or your backside. They got your six when you got their six. If you that at home, if you got a partner, somebody who you with, you have to be willing to have these uncomfortable conversations in order to bring comfort and peace and keep it comfortable and peaceful within your relationship. So by doing that, setting these boundaries and communicating with Terry, but then also giving yourself some grace. You have to be willing to give yourself some grace. To the fact that you were able to address this now lets me know that you are committed to doing the right thing. So just be mindful. Conflicted, but committed. You got this, right? You know, lean into your marriage with the information that you got that you're feeling on the other side of things. Lean into your marriage. Set those boundaries. And use this as a moment to show and grow. What I mean by that, to show you how you and your spouse can grow, how you and Terry can grow, not just as a partner, not just how you can grow as a partner, but how you can grow as a person. How can you grow in both of those areas, as a partner, but as a person? Because you're a person first. You're a partner second. How is that person being the partner that they need or want to be? And if you ever feel like you're struggling with emotions like to that capacity, don't hesitate to go reach out to somebody like a counselor. Y'all know how we are. We big on counseling here at Hot 7025. We even also offer free counseling. Hot7025fm.com. Go on down there and look at counseling. You know? Because we understand people deal with things differently inside this computer. All right? Sometimes a different perspective can work wonders. So I appreciate you coming to get mine and my online colleagues' perspectives on this take. Because I saw you tune in over here. I saw you get on here. You know? So I appreciate you for being here to listen to the question you asked. You know? So that's all we got for today, y'all. Y'all know how we do right here at Holla at the Homie. Anytime you need me, hit me up at hollaatthehomie@gmail.com. That's HOLLAATTHAHOMIE@gmail.com. Or if you got my phone number, text me. If you got my house address, write me a letter. Any way you want to do it to get it over here to make sure that we and my fellow constituents out here can get your questions answered. So, as always, I appreciate y'all. And until next time, until I breathe on y'all again, take care of yourselves and of each other. I'm 360 the Poet. In a minute.
Hi. Hey. What's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out.
Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On Hot 7025fm.com.